So did you have fun using our new app and sending your questions in? All three of you? Excellent, great. So once again, guys, congratulations on all that you do and the fantastic support you give to the UK business and the global business. People looking at you on the stage are going to think that you have lots of magic dust that they don't have, but I'm sure you'll agree with me that we are more alike than different. We have a series of questions here. Nobody is particularly aiming any question at anybody, but maybe if you've got a good answer to this, the first question is the Success Express a place to bring new guests? Who'd like to answer that? Emma's nodding furiously. You have a microphone on your lap, that's the one, yeah, good.
Well, one of my managers came from bringing her to Success Day. She just came as my friend to have she just wanted to support me. And when she kept saying about joining forever, I said, oh no, I don't think it's the right time for you. She was going through some challenges. I said, just wait, just wait and see. And then she came, I think it's about 18 months ago. She joined, and times were really hard for her, but she sponsored a really great girl in Canada. And from that, I have a really large team in Canada now. And, had she not come here, I never would have got to work with them. So I think it's a great thing for people to see that it works and look at the support you have with it.
Any other thoughts? Do you prepare your people before you invite them to pass the mic to John.
Yes, it sometimes comes as a bit of a shock when people walk into a room like this with so many other people. But it's part of the process. Yeah. People talk as though this event is a standalone. It is part of a process. Building a business is a process. Giving people confidence is a process. Expanding their field of view so they see the larger picture is a process. So I guess I would comment, why wouldn't you bring somebody? I can't wait to get a guest, a new person, in front of this because they see the big picture. They may have just sat down with you and seen a tiny picture, which you've tried to make large. They may have gone to a BP and seen more people. But this is irrefutable evidence that this absolutely works. And they want safe hands. And they'll see where they get their hands from by coming to events like this.
What do you say to a new person, John, before you bring them to a Success Day? Anything any different to what you'd say to, taking them to an opportunity meeting, for example?
I just say, look, this is, at first sight, some people get a bit shocked by the size of it.
Yeah.
It is a showcase. It's designed to expose you to all the good things which are in the repertoire of the Forever Business opportunity. Just come and let it flow over you. Soak it up. Don't worry about understanding, because you won't understand everything you hear, because obviously there is a forever speak that we all speak because we're familiar with it.
Yeah, part of our language now.
It's part of our language, culture. And just come, suspend disbelief, just come and be part of it. And I'll gladly answer your questions at the end, but I'm sure, like so many before you, you will see something in this for yourself.
Yeah.
And we'd love to have you working with us.
The great thing I think about our Success Days now compared to the earlier days, I remember in the early days sometimes we didn't have a single manager or just a couple of supervisors, not as much evidence then as there is now that the business works for everybody and the diverse range of people that we get across the stage. Next question we've had, and we had several people ask this question, the foundation and the building block of a forever business is the 4 CCs that we accumulate each month, and the question that a lot of people have asked is, how do you guys go about building that 4CC structure? Jan.
How do you do 4 CCs? Well, I've been in the business now for 21 years, so I'm one of the, well, not quite the longest standing member.
We're the longest standing.
But you're the longest standing, but I'm a couple of years behind
and
you.
then Adam.
You're getting into a competition
So
now.
we've been around a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, over 20 years. And once I actually saw the building model, I realised, Jane and John were actually my coaches at the time and my mentors, so I just did as I was told. And when I realised that if I didn't do 4 case credits, that my sponsor would get my team leading bonus, I decided that that would never happen. So I have been 4CC active from the moment I took this marketing plan seriously. How have I done that? I've always had a really good customer base. And in fact, those customers, some of them are still with me today as customers. Some of them have become Novus customers, but I still treat them them like customers. In fact, I do their ordering for some of them, because some of them are quite elderly. And at the time, I found it quite difficult with one lady. She's been with me drinking aloe since 1998, and she was in her mid-70s when she started.
Wow.
So, you know, and she'd been a customer. She used to say, pop one in the post every 3 weeks. Well, it did get a bit tedious, if I'm honest. So one day, a few years later, I phoned her up, and she's now in her 80s. And I said, look, would it be easier for you to register, buy it at 15%? I will still treat you like a customer. I will phone your order through every couple of months, whatever it is, buy 4 at a time. And she said, yes. So she's been with me since 1998. Well, I started in 1995. So I think it's really important to look after your customers.
Yeah, good message.
So I've got quite a few long-standing customers. Some, as I say, have become Novus customers. Some of us haven't. Obviously, the other thing is through sponsoring. It's the lifeblood of our business. So you need to be sponsoring. And that, as you all know, goes towards your full case credits. And building up that customer base for your team is also really, really important. We always say, you know, we use the products. We use so many of the products at home. We retail the products, and we sponsor people into our team. And actually, it's not that difficult to do 4cc. I mean, at the moment, when we started in the business, there were 3 of us living at home. Samantha was only about 10 years old. Nat and Nick had sort of left home. So we have used the products consistently. Any product that we could change in our house that Forever do, why wouldn't I be my own best customer? And how could I talk about the products if I wasn't using them? So we use retail sponsor, and basically that's it. And I've been 4cc plus. I say 4cc is actually the basic. We have done over 4cc every month for the last 21 years, and my sponsors never got my income. Thank you.
Brilliant. Any addition to that? Lisa?
I also think that it's a mindset, because I hear a lot of people saying, I struggle to do my 4, it's difficult. And from that point on, that's exactly what they're attracting. When I joined, I had no idea. I didn't understand case credits. I had no idea how I was going to do 4, but I was told that that is what you did. And by doing those basic things that Jan said, using enough, recommending them and sharing the opportunity, but believing that you can do it. Because I've got so many people within my team that when they stop saying that they can't do it and actually focus on doing the activity to achieve it, then that makes all the difference.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think it is mindset. It's surprising to see sometimes how few people are 4cc active. You think, you know, how could you be seriously in a business if you weren't? That's the foundation there. Okay, next question we have is, what's the most, in fact, it's probably good to go around the entire line for this one. What's the most memorable piece of advice you've ever been given that helped you change your business?
I think it was something I picked up from Dr. Tom Barrett, who has written a couple of fantastic books. And by the way, if you want a free resource, if you go to www.communicationguys.com, it's a free website. You can sign up. You get a free podcast every week. But I remember him saying, when you join network marketing, you have to have the mindset of an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur knows that the work comes first and the money comes second. And too many people join Forever with an employee mentality, and they work hard for the first week or so, they don't make any money, and they think this doesn't work. But when you're an entrepreneur, when you join Forever, you have to have an entrepreneur's mindset. And always remember and coach into your team, the work comes first, the money comes later.
Great message, Adam.
So it's not a piece of advice that I got from someone else, it's advice that I've given to myself.
Even better.
Coming from a yoga teacher background, I used to invite people into my classes and tell them that the little rectangular yoga mat that they were stood on was their own space. Don't look at anybody else's body, don't look at how advanced anybody else is. I used to say to them sometimes, build a little wall around your yoga mat in your mind and just work to your best capacity in that space. And I've said this a couple of times in the last few years, that when I started to become a network marketer, I stepped away from being a yoga teacher. When I really found my feet with it, I realized that there's so many skills that I can bring from my past into being a network marketer. And it's given me kind of my niche,
It makes me stand out from everybody else, you know, to have your own kind of personality. And I think that's the best advice for anybody, is to don't worry about anybody else. Every single person is different. Every situation, every person's background is completely different. Just look straight ahead, focus, breathe deeply, and do your best.
Good advice, Nat. Yeah, really good advice. Jan?
For me, it was the importance of being very consistent and persistent. We all have lives, we all have families, some of us have jobs. I had a job when I first started. And so we only have 24 hours in a day. So I think to plan the time that you're building your business around the time that it's important to have with your family, and obviously the time that you have to be at your job if you have one. And I think to block that out in your diary. I think some people just sort of go through the weeks in a bit of a muddle, thinking, I need to do my forever, I need to go to work, I need to pick the kids up from school, I need to spend time with the kids. But I think it's really important to actually map out that time as best you can. And if you've got 2 hours on a Monday morning where you're doing your forever, do your forever, because you know for the next 2 hours you might be, cleaning the house or picking the kids up from school or whatever it might be. But I think planning that on a 7-day plan every Sunday night is really, really important. And it just keeps your mind focused so that you know what you're doing at what time on certain days. Obviously, life gets in the way sometimes. So this is never working perfectly. But at least you've got something to actually to run your week by, to build your forever business. Because if you don't touch it consistently, you're just going to lose track of it. And it's really important to keep on track with your business.
And you get momentum that way as well, of
Yes.
course, too. So good advice. Emma?
My best bit of advice was actually when I was going through some challenges. And I'm sure you all know how it feels when not everybody is supportive of you and you have all those kind of challenges. And Aidan O'Hare said to me on a picnic bench at head office, he said, Emma, there will always be dogs that bark at the train of success as it rushes by. It's up to you if you slow down and listen to them or not. And it's always stuck with me.
He's
Just
brilliant
keep
at
going.
telling stories, Aidan, isn't he?
Wise
The
beyond
analogies.
years,
Yeah,
isn't he?
brilliant. Dogs that bark, I like it.
So mine was consistency, but Jan's covered that. So I'll go to another bit of advice that I was given. And it was actually by Ashley Riley. And I remember I was going through my business as a busy fool. And I can remember we were at the Budapest European Rally, and he stood there and he said to me, bite off more than you can chew and learn how to chew it. And to be honest, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it was the most amazing advice that I could ever have, because it helped me then even be busy, but slow down and just think, get a grip and learn how to chew it. It is. That's my theme for today, get a grip.
I think I've got one. Is this working?
Thank you, Julian. Yeah, it is, Jay.
A piece of advice I was given was network as if your life depends on it,
Yeah.
because it does.
There's no plan B. I love it.
Short and to the point.
I had the privilege with Forever of attending a Tom Hopkins training in the States, and I heard the definitive close, and I used it relentlessly for years. You've just gone through your presentation, you look them right in the eyes, very quietly, and you say, from what you've seen so far, with a lot more information still to come, do you see something in this for yourself, yes or no, and feel totally comfortable to say no? That's it.
I like it.
The best piece of advice I was given is actually by Ange. I'd been in the business for 6 months. Had to name drop there. Been in the business for 6 months, and she said, Louise, you've just been given a job that's going to pay you more than £100,000 a year, but you're not going to pick it up for 3 to 5 years, and this is what you need to do. And it was, you did.
Did I?
Did I? You did.
Yeah, we were sat by the pool in Lanzarote. And it was contact people every day, talk about your business, talk about your products, talk about the opportunity. And if you do that every day, everything that's taught to you on weekly trainings, in 3 to 5 years' time, you're going to be in a job that could pay you in excess of 100 grand. And I thought, I'll do that then.
Good advice, and you made it.
It was something I heard recently from a very wise lady, sat in the middle. And it was Jane that said at one of our trainings, go for every incentive, even if you don't want to win the prize. And that's obviously something I heard recently, but when I think back to the start of my journey, I wanted, because of my competitive nature, but I wanted to win every incentive, just to say that, just to say that I'd done it, and to show that it was possible. And no matter what it was, I always wanted to do it.
Lead by example.
Exactly.
Lead by example, yeah, perfect. Gets harder, Ange, as it goes all the way around.
No, it doesn't. It's just that I've got so many and I just don't know which to choose.
Which to pick. Yeah.
And I think it's going to be... Do you know, the 3 best pieces of advice I was given was from... It's not going to stop me. I can see we've got 4 minutes left. No, my mum, who told me when I was little, we used to go to campsites, and I used to be a really good dancer, and we would go into the campsites where we weren't staying to go into the discos so that I could enter the dance competitions because I would always win. And I would say, but we're not allowed into this campsite because we're not staying here. And she said, Angela, in life, anywhere you go, walk in as if you own the place and no one will ever question you. And I guess that's where I got my self-confidence from, because I always walked around as if I owned the place.
And now you probably do.
Be bold. I think a lady said on the stage earlier, be bold, and that's that.
Yeah.
And then my dad used to come into the lounge, and me and my brother would be lazy teenagers on one sofa each, and he would come in and he would say, how can I soar like an eagle when I'm flying with you turkeys? But what that taught me was, you have to surround yourself with people that are going to lift you. And they say that you become the average of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. And I think it's really important to surround yourself with inspirational people, which I'm very lucky that I am, and I always have been. Finally, my Uncle Mike, who's an absolute ledge, said, you know Uncle Mike, don't you?
Yeah.
He said, you never lose in business if you learn. And I think that we've all had situations in our businesses where we think that we've lost, or we might have missed an incentive or dropped down a level or whatever. And you haven't lost if you learn from that. So, yeah, you
Great
never lose
advice.
in business if you
All
learn.
from the family.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with positive people is a really solid piece of advice. I believe that most people don't achieve what they could in life because sometimes they don't stick at it long enough and they quit. And one of the key questions we've had from lots of people during this morning's session is, have you guys ever thought about quitting?
Oh, yes.
And if you did, what stopped you?
So I would say that you've got to have a real deep down emotional connection to your goal, your why. And you've got to be more fearful of not achieving your goal than you are of quitting. It's always too soon to quit. You can have a pity party for maybe 20 minutes, get over it, move on. Because if you give up, then the impact that'll have on all the people around you is untold. It's unbelievable. So you never, ever, ever quit. You learn from the tough times and you move on.
Make the goal bigger than you in some ways, yeah?
Yeah.
Great advice. Anybody else ever quit? Nearly quit? Thought about quitting?
I think with mine, it's stubbornness.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to get this sense of just being a real stubborn bugger inside you.
Yeah.
And everyone you've ever shared the opportunity with, that should keep increasing how stubborn you become. Because you've told all these people now, and if you quit and you stop, what are they going to think? And I kept that with me, and I thought, there's no way I'm stopping.
Perfect. One more?
Why would you let anybody steal your dreams and
Dreams, yeah.
goals? Because by quitting, that's what you'd be doing. And I mean, I took quite a while to join this business. Several months just retailing the products before I'd even go to a business presentation. So I wasn't a quick starter. But if I'd said no 21 years ago, just think there'd be no power team. If John and Jane had said no 22 years ago, there'd be no QLS. If Adam had said the same, there'd be none of his team. Yeah. You know, it's we all have bad days. it's like a business like any other business. I wouldn't say bad days, I should say challenging days. We all have challenges in life, but there was not one moment that I ever thought of quitting or stopping this business. Why would I do that? I had goals, I had things I wanted to achieve, and I've been very fortunate, and I have to say I have worked hard over the previous years, and I've achieved all and far more than I ever wanted, not only for myself but my family as well. So no, I never ever thought of quitting.
It's good. One final question, we're running out of time, but a question again that was asked by a lot of people. What do you believe the most important attribute a leader should have?
A leader?
Yeah, a leader.
One word, and it's a word that one of my early mentors shared with me, and it was stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, Dusty Green's word that should have made the Oxford English Dictionary, even though he was American, is stick-to-itiveness.
Yep.
Excellent answer. Anybody else? Single attribute.
I would say to never be outworked, to always make sure you work the hardest.
I love that
your
one.
Team.
Speed of the leaders, speed of the pack, don't be outworked.
It's true.
One more.
Adam?
Never take advice from people who are not qualified.
Yeah, and don't we? We listen to anybody sometimes. Great. Adam, final word from you.
A leader qualifies for things not because they do it for themselves, but because they do it to make their team believe it's possible that they can do it too. And I always tell my team, you need to qualify for the incentives, you need to be doing chairman's bonus, you need to be doing Eagle, because it just puts it within touching distance of your team, and it makes them start to believe that they can do it too. And that's one of the key things about leadership. And I remember Jane saying many years ago, leaders know the way, go the way, and show the way. And that's exactly what leaders should be doing.
Let's hear it for our UK leadership team. Thank them for their great advice, their inspiration, the courage that they have in leading the way. Thank you for asking the questions today. The UK leadership team.